What is going on, you guys? AK40 Kevin here in the Gamer Heaven. Today I'm going to go over 6 things that you absolutely need to do with your brand new PS5 before you jump into any games or even start browsing the user interface to make sure you protect your investment, you protect your identity, and you get the most out of your experience. Let's get it. Alright, the first thing that you absolutely need to do with your brand new beautiful console is use the stand. The first thing it says in the quick start manual from Sony is that you need to use the stand. Whether you're going to be in horizontal or vertical orientation, you need to use the stand. And the reason for this is you actually get increased cooling. You're not going to cause any damage by not using it. However, you are going to get better cooling from the bottom of the console. Not to mention you actually decrease the risk of sucking up lint from your carpet or pet hair or skin dander or any of that or gross stuff that you don't want to suck up in there. The only tangible reason I could even think of why you wouldn't want to use the stand, besides the extra minute it takes to actually screw it in with the included screw, would be if the extra 3/4 of an inch that it adds to the height causes some kind of clearance issue in your cabinet, in your entertainment center. But at that point, I would say you need to move your PS5 to another area, because if the manufacturer's telling you it's mandatory to do that, it's probably for a reason. Now, the second thing would be to turn on two-factor authentication. You are prompted to do this during the initial setup. You can skip that phase. However, I strongly recommend that you enable this for the PlayStation Network, as it was fully hacked in 2011 with everyone's credit card information that was saved to the PlayStation 3 being leaked, people's credit cards, their addresses, full names, all that stuff. So just enable that, and there's two options. There's SMS, which is okay, that's via text message, but that's actually easily hackable. I would recommend going with the Authenticator app. It's called Google Authenticator. It is free on the Apple and Android store, and it basically gives you a 6-digit code that refreshes every 60 seconds. It's encrypted, and it's much, much harder to hack, and it's a lot more secure than just going with traditional SMS text message. So please enable that, protect your information. The next one is to install the system software update. Again, during the initial setup, when you get this thing out of the box, you are prompted to do this, but you do have an option to set that up later or skip that phase. Do not do that. I wouldn't even jump into the main menu and start browsing your PlayStation 5 until you install that update, because there were a ton of bugs and glitches in the user interface just on the main menu that Sony has massaged out since launch. Not to mention, there are new features being added, like eventually when the NVMe storage expansion drive in the back of the console is no longer firmware blocked and you can actually expand the memory. That is going to be done through a software patch. So if you get this console a couple months from now or whenever, and those features are available, you're not going to have access to those without installing a software update. Not to mention, the software update, if you have decent internet, is actually pretty quick, and it's going to make your experience just that much more fluid. Now, taking that a step further, I would take each and every controller you have. So for example, I have three DualSense 5 controllers here. Plug them all in via the USB-C to the front of your console and update the firmware for each of these controllers, because they do have features like haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, not to mention a built-in microphone. And all of those are getting better and better. And when new games get released, there is additional support and features for the controller that come out with each game. So by doing that, you're going to make sure that your controller is the most responsive. They also add features like adjustability for analog stick dead zone, which can basically counteract stick drift via software instead of having to disassemble your DualSense, and repair stick drift, which is actually already a major issue on the DualSense 5 controllers. I will have a tutorial on this channel as to 2 methods how to repair stick drift, one without disassembly and one disassembling the DualSense controller. All right, the next thing that I strongly advise you guys to do is to activate your warranty. You go onto Sony.com, you're going to enter your serial number, and that way you activate your warranty for your $500 console in case anything goes wrong. And also, if you have any kind of a third-party warranty, for example, with the bundle that I got an extended 2-year warranty from the Nex or Navy Exchange, so I activated that as well, as that gives me another layer of warranty support. So if for some reason Sony rejects to honor the warranty for any reason, I do have that backup layer, because these are very expensive consoles and you don't want to be stuck with a $500 paperweight. The next one is to fully go through your settings. So anytime you get any kind of electronics good, whether it's a brand new cell phone or a new controller or headset, the very first thing before you play any games or anything is go into the settings. You go up to the cog icon and just go top to bottom and make sure that everything is set up for your liking. Some of the ones that I strongly do recommend you check out is screen and video. Go over here to video output information. Don't panic if you see that you're at 4K 60 Hertz. There is an option I'm about to show you where you can select for your games to boost up to 120 Hertz by selecting a performance mode that will give you slightly less pretty graphics, maybe tone down things like ray tracing and texture packs, but give you that increased frame rate. And for me personally, I would choose a higher frame rate over maximum resolution 10 out of 10 every day of the week. On my PC, I would rather be at 1080 or 1440 with 144 Hertz than down there at about 60 Hertz 4K. Especially if you're playing something like a competitive first-person shooter or a racing game with very fast motion, where fluid motion on screen can actually help you get wins and kills. Now, to make sure that you actually are getting that 4K 120, you are going to need a TV that supports that, as well as using the HDMI cable that came with your PS5 or another 2.1 high-speed HDMI cable that's going to give you that fast enough data transfer to where you can support either 8K or 4K 120. Now in the settings here, you're going to scroll down to Save Data, Game and App Settings. You are going to go to Game Presets, and right here it says Performance Mode or Resolution Mode. You also have difficulty that can adjust your game difficulty to a preset default. If you're not a very good gamer or anything, nothing wrong with that. Then you might want to select, Recruit or Easy difficulty. Performance Mode and Resolution Mode. Now, by having it on game default, 90% of the time when you launch a game, it'll automatically optimize for graphics and cap you at about 60 frames per second. But if you go over here to performance mode, that is going to target frame rate over the sheer graphical performance, which I highly recommend. And also, speaking of settings, you want to go through the settings on your television to make sure that you are in any kind of a game mode, an HDR mode, and that you also set up the HDR with your PlayStation 5, which you are prompted to do when you initially set up the console. However, if you ever need to redo the HDR settings because you change the HDMI port, because most of these modern smart TVs, each HDMI port has its own individual settings. So if you switch over, you're going to want to redo your HDR settings. Or if for some reason you did your HDR setup on the console, but you forgot to put it in the preferred game mode on your television, you will need to redo to make sure you're getting the most out of your HDR. So you're going to go back to Screen and Video, and you're going to go down here to Adjust HDR, and this is going to take you right back to that initial setup. All right, last but certainly not least, play Astro's Playroom. It is already baked into your PS5. It's basically a free game. It's actually a really cool game, and the entire purpose of this game is to show off the new features of the PS5, particularly the DualSense 5 controller. It is the best demonstration of the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback motor, plus the built-in microphone. So if you really want to see what your new console can do, where your $500 just went, check out Astro's Playroom. It is actually a really cool demo game. Alrighty guys, this has been 6 things that you absolutely need to do with your brand new PS5 right out of the box before you even start gaming with the sucker. If this video was beneficial for you, added value to your day, liking the video helps it to get seen by more people so this information can help them as well. Subscribe for more tutorials like this, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.